Hi, my name is Fred Cox. I'm running for Salt Lake County Council District 2. I wanted to give you an update of a couple of things that have happened recently, and I was going to do a town hall later this afternoon. I'm not sure if I will be able to. There's another event that I'd like to attend, but I wanted to give you an update. I was going to send out an email, may still do, with a couple of points. As far as leadership, experience, integrity, willing to listen, represent you, and respect. Those are items that I'm running on. Areas that I'd like to focus on include economy, growth, taxes, your rights, transportation, water, sewer, clean air, and crime. I've had some recent questions on some of those, and I'll go into more detail another time. In the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020, I was the original sponsor, one of 5, for the 2019 tax referendum, working with voters throughout the state, both liberal and conservative. We were able to gain 170,000 signatures. Probably around 145,000 of those were actually verified. Many of the others were not verified because the legislature and the governor repealed the bill that was passed in December. I served in the House of Representatives in 2011, 2012, 2015, 2016. And I had a reputation of being willing to listen, to speak up and fight, to have town hall meetings, and I would fight no matter the opposition. I'm involved in the community. That includes a Rotary Club president currently, Neighborhood Watch chair. I'm involved in the Southwest Valley Chamber of Commerce and Western Growth Coalition. On my website, you can find links to this particular article as far as why to vote for me. It includes links to, some bio on me as far as some of the things I've done, how long I've lived in Salt Lake County. Basically, I've been a resident in Salt Lake County my whole life, over 50 years. Lived in West Valley for over 30. It's got some information on specific issues. If you look at those issues, you will notice, if you go back in time, and you can do that with Google and the web, those issues really haven't changed much in the last 10 years. I've been consistent on my focus. I've got a list of endorsements. One new endorsement I received yesterday I'm going to talk a little bit about. What would I do different if I was on the county council? There's some links on that having to do with the budget. I would not have voted for the tax increase that passed 7-2 last December. I would not have voted for additional gun restrictions at gun shows that the mayor basically did without the council's approval, and when she originally did that. I would have voted against the Olympia Hills project as outlined. I'm not opposed to mixed use. I'm not opposed to high density if it's done right. This was 900 acres rezoned all at once with a development agreement tying the hands of other cities in the future. And a city will inherit that problem, whether it's Harriman or another city that will yet to be created. As far as the shutdown process, there's some information about that. I do not believe the government should be shutting down private businesses who are doing nothing wrong. You can tell them that they have to keep their employees safe, the customers safe, some guidance on doing that, and let the business owners decide whether they can meet those requirements or not. But the decision should not be made by the government. The economy, there's an article or a post on that. I have Facebook town hall meetings that I've done that have been recorded. I've done other town hall meetings, so we'll be doing some more as soon as that works. Should have grabbed some water. I want to mention that yesterday, Utah Fraternal Order of Police unanimously endorsed me. And their letter, Brent Jecks, president, said, on behalf of the 4,000 members of the Utah Fraternal Order of Police, it is my pleasure to inform you that you have received the endorsement of the largest police labor organization in Utah. We appreciate your willingness to work with us further in furthering the law enforcement profession and look forward to continuing that process. Excuse me. There's a post about Salt Lake County just voted to borrow $70 million, and why and where they're spending their money and how much they were going to have to reduce their budget. We can go into detail on that. I received a letter or an email. Hi, I'm reaching out to you and your opponent because I'm concerned with how politicians listen and prioritize the civil rights issues we face in our country. I think it's important that politicians do what they can to fight systemic racism that has hurt people of color for years. What is your position on these protests? Thanks. I'm going to briefly mention my response. Since 2009, I have lost track of how many protests I've been to. I was at one in February, February 8th, and May 2nd. In fact, I was invited to speak at both of those. As I mentioned before, I led the 2019 Utah tax referendum as the original sponsor, one of 5. We got 170,000 signatures, and the legislature and the governor backed off. I have no issues with protests. I disagree with the violence and property damage that has happened in a few days ago. There is no excuse for that. That was last week. That is wrong. The reason for protests are valid. Too many people die because they're treated wrongly by those that should care. I've worked with police officers in the past that are wonderful. Others are not. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses. Everybody makes bad decisions, good decisions. Anyway, I went on to say, I do not know what racism feels like, but I do know what prejudice feels like. I've been with others who were afraid because of racism. We need more people to associate with others of different backgrounds, whether a different race or not. We can learn to care about others, and that can help. One of the Facebook groups that was recently created in the last few days, they're having a planning meeting this afternoon, and I would like to attend that. I believe that if we get the right people involved, that can do more to solving racism than anything the government can do. Anyway, I went on to say, the government should be colorblind and treat everyone fairly. I am not sure reducing the sheriff budget by $6 million, that's the proposal that I saw last Tuesday from the mayor, is a good idea. They need better and more trained officers, not less. When I met with the Fraternal Order of Police, there were a number of things that they commented, but one of them was very important. When a city or a county has a budget problem, they oftentimes reduce the budget for police officers, and the number of police officers, sheriffs, whatever, goes down. And then when they get a little bit more money, the crime goes up or whatever, they put more officers on the payroll, but those are oftentimes new officers. And some of those are really wonderful and they respond really well, but some of them have not had the training and the experience that some of those officers have had that they lost. So having the budget go up and down with the various cities and with various counties is not helpful to what we currently are facing, where we've got a lot of unrest, and we have a lot of unrest because people do not feel like they're being treated fairly. And we have officers that have good experience and that are very good at treating people fairly. Those are the ones that we need to keep. And The majority of the officers that I've associated with are. I'm a neighborhood watch chair, and I have contact with the police in my area. I am grateful when they show up. I wanted to mention one other thing that happened this week. I heard a noise outside, and so I went out to see what was going on, and there was a fire truck parked almost in front of my house, and then there was another fire vehicle. The more I looked at it, I thought, they're not going anywhere. They're either looking for some place or they're waiting for something. In my city, in West Valley, those departments have paramedics and ambulances. And so consequently, they were there waiting. There was something major happening around the corner, around another corner, not too far from my house, where there were whether 5 or 12 police officers. I've heard different stories. And there was someone held up, there was a call, there was potential of some gun violence. And that, those paramedics and that ambulance were there just in case, whether they were police officers or the individuals that lived in that house or anybody else. They were there to take care, to keep everybody safe and to respond as quick as possible. As it turned out, those two fire vehicles left the area sometime later. They didn't go to that house. There wasn't a need. So something that the police did avoided anybody getting shot. I don't know if there were any shots fired at all or not, but no injuries, and it apparently they were able to solve that. I have a lot of respect for the police. A lot of times people do not realize police officers are citizens just like you and me, and they have the same constitutional rights as you and I do. That does not mean that they don't make mistakes, and that does not mean that they shouldn't be held accountable for the mistakes that they make. And in some cases, when we find police officers that do not belong in the force, they should be removed. There's a process to go through, and that is very important. But if we're going to solve racism, we need to start with you and me. We need to become friends with people. One of the great things that I learned working on the referendum several months ago is I called my liberal and conservative friends and I asked them to work together. And for more than a month, we had individuals that were very liberal, very conservative, sitting down together, working together for common good. We need more of that in this country. This is a great country, and we have great people here. I want you to know that I will do my best as your county council member for Salt Lake County Council to have those principles in place. I will do everything I can to reduce budget without unfairly targeting certain groups and departments. And maybe we need to reduce some of the things that the county is trying to do. $1.5 billion is a lot when you have a whole bunch of cities within the county. There are certain things that the county has to do. There's other things that the county does not have to do, and we need to look at that. I appreciate your time. If I get an opportunity later this afternoon, I may have a town hall meeting and I'll post that. But I'll also record this and post it on my, I'll post a link on my blog, both Facebook, and also I'll convert it to YouTube for those people that are not on Facebook. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Vote for Fred Cox for Salt Lake County Council District 2.